Hi, and welcome to Six Figure Signature Offers, the place female founders come to create businesses that deliver both peace and profit. I'm your host, Robin Birkin, online business strategist. I built my first six-figure business with a baby and a toddler working just 6 hours per week. And I grew it to multi-six figures, more than 1 million podcast downloads and 1,500 clients before returning to my true expertise and growing this business to multi-six figures in less than 15 months, all in part-time hours. The one secret weapon that's fueled both businesses? A hero signature offer. The kind of offer that turns you from just another face in your niche to the authority, makes content creation 10 times easier, and powers rinse and repeat launches with big pockets of freedom in between. My mission is simple: to help you create a scalable business model that lets you work less, earn more, and build the kind of business that actually feels good to run. So if you've ever wondered how to create easeful yet wildly successful launches, how to get off the revenue roller coaster, or how to juggle being a present parent and the breadwinning CEO, sit back, subscribe. I am so happy to have you here. Let's go. Hi, and welcome to Six Figure Signature Offers. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to speak with you. And these are the types of episodes that I always love to hear. Is that behind the scenes where you feel like you really get to know someone, what they've been doing in their business, but also what has been going on in their lives. And so it is with that in mind that today's episode is just a little bit of a behind the scenes update. Now, the full disclosure is that I haven't written like a step-by-step notes for this episode. So I'm going to riff it out with you. I'm going to give you the full scoop of this year, what has worked, what hasn't, my unfiltered thoughts about all of those things, some of the decisions that we've made in the business, so that as you are potentially reflecting at the end of the year, you can make thoughts and decisions about how you wish to progress as well. So where do I even start? I guess the first place that I start is just to give you the heads up. I'm so sure that you have heard me in the last couple of episodes speak to what we have coming up in November. Imminently, we are going to be running a masterclass all about how to scale from 5 to 20K months in 2026. The details are in the show notes or on my Instagram at Robin Birkin. So do make sure that you come to that if you are interested in learning my thoughts about where you really need to be investing your energy, where you can let go of things and comfortably ignore them. One of the biggest lessons for me this year, it literally is like, just put your blinkers on and stop looking at what's going on around you. So let's sort of start off, I guess, around the 31st of December last year. I wrote to one of my like acquaintances online in the threads. They were asking like, what's the goal? What's everyone's plans for the new year? And I wrote to myself, I knew that because we were doing the renovation, this year was going to be quite a challenging year. Last year felt challenging as well. You know, I had just closed my life coaching business. I had, and started with just 3 group sort of clients at like a low revenue level. So I was really starting last year at basically having started again. So last year felt difficult for that reason. I knew that coming into this year was going to be difficult because we are doing this major renovation on the house. So, and we're choosing to live in the house while we do it, while we still have our own jobs, like not using a builder because my husband is in construction already. So he kind of signed up to that when he decided on a career that he has to do all home renovations himself. Anyway, I knew that it would be a hard year. It has been. To that level, like things like, just to give you the flavor of what it's been like, is every week I have things that need to be organized. I have to organize this week a new set of bricks. I need to organize another waste trap. I have a carpenter coming to finish some of the kitchen in the pool room. We have the tiler coming on Friday. Yesterday, we had the power company out. They shut down the power. So, like, when that happens, my laptop still works for a little bit, but then shuts down. But also because I've got people with power tools, like knocking on my door, asking me questions all the time. I have really struggled to get into that deep focus. The day before, ditto, I had the electricity off for hours in our house. And I can see the vision of what we are creating. We're adding a pool that is also accompanied by a pool room that is kind of like a guest house. Then we are putting in a 4-car garage and then extending the front of the house. So that'll extend out, like we'll be completely redoing our ensuite and bedroom, having a larger bedroom. We'll have a much larger walk-in robe and a much larger front room. Then we'll be getting the whole house re-roofed, re-floored. We'll be getting the kitchen done. We'll have a scullery. Like, massive, right? We have done a major extension and renovation on a house before. And when we moved into this house, we also redid the kitchen. We redid the laundry. We redid some other bits and pieces, like the whole backyard area. So we know what it's like to be owner builders in renovating houses and the significant value that that can add. We ummed and ahed on this for years, deciding what it was that we were going to do, whether we wanted to move and upgrade to another suburb that was closer onto the coast, or whether we stayed where we are. But we are in a cul-de-sac off a cul-de-sac. It is such a quiet street. Like, our kids can just run on the road. They can play football on the street. And there's no cars that come into our street because it's almost like this hidden little street. We're on a relatively flat block. We have neighbours who are home all the time in the day. So it's such a safe street in walking distance. We have this shopping centre that has, like, I don't know why, like 3 bakeries. It's just like a little neighbourhood shopping centre, but it has 3 bakeries in it. It has a little Thai place, Japanese, kebab. It has a gourmet store, a little grocery store. It has a post office and a newsagent. It's such a cute little tiny shopping centre. It has beautiful parks. We're right close to the freeway, so it only takes me 15 minutes to get into the city. So we ummed and ahed, and there are things that we don't love about this street. We have certainly discovered that this house has had lots of very, very dodgy repairs and wiring and, you know, just with any kind of other renovation, especially if you are moving into a house that has had baby boomers living in it, you uncover all of these things. But the biggest aha moment that we have had is that when you renovate and extend a house with children who are young-ish, it's a whole different ballgame. And I really feel for my husband because the second that I go outside, like, I am a get my hands dirty kind of girl. Like, when we first moved into this house, I was there ripping down this whole backyard contraption. Like, I get in there and get stuff done. When we did the first house, I was in there doing stuff. This time, the second I go outside, the kids need me. They need feeding. They have an issue. They start fighting, whatever it is. And so, bless him, my husband has been working so hard and mostly on his own. So obviously I am here like semi-project managing, trying to help organize trades, although he's doing a lot of that as well, purchasing things. But when it comes to actual doingness, bless his cotton socks, he's working a full day in construction and then coming home and doing a lot of the renovation. I did expect in many ways that this would be the flavour of this year. So alongside him, working physically at night and thinking to, you know, like how that impacts me in my life and my business, alongside me having to take a lot of time out of my business to be able to coordinate trades and things that we need, from skip bins to plumbing to whatever, I have taken on extra load in terms of the domestic load of the house. So I cook dinner every night. All of the reticulation to our house has been cut off, and we live in Perth, so it's like 40 degrees in the summer. I'm manually going and having to water all of the plants in the garden. And I have taken on that additional load, but there is not really the same ability for me to say, right, you're in charge of the kids now. I'm going to go off and work at night if I'm preparing for a launch or whatever that is. So I knew coming into this year that was going to be the flavor. I had 3 words coming into this year: simple, seamless, and space. I was starting to feel a little bit fatigued. It had been a year of like startup for me, and lots of pivoting, lots of messaging, lots of figuring out what was working, sprinting to make back up that revenue, because when you are making a good salary from your business that contributes to the house, especially when you're in a season of like outlay for a renovation of hundreds of thousands of dollars, there was that pressure to rebuild really, really quickly. So I was coming to the end of the year. I run a high touch group program, the Peace and Profit Mastermind, and we came off in September. We had a great launch. We had a lot of re-signs, nearly everybody re-signed. And so for me, in terms of my work, things were really busy. Things were working. It's a high touch, high service product. And so that was sort of the flavor of coming into this year. So I actually didn't re-sign in the mastermind that I was in, knowing that, when you join a mastermind, you join wanting success, wanting that accountability, wanting someone to push you forward. And I didn't re-sign because I knew that actually this year wasn't going to be even like I still hit my best ever revenue. Our financial year only closed, whatever it was, like 3-4 months ago. I still closed out with my best ever salary and my best ever revenue, and I had a really high profit margin, but didn't re-sign knowing that it wasn't going to be a year of like pushing myself or doing my best. I knew that it was going to be a tiring year. And so I was like, I'm not going to be able to make the most of this, so I won't re-sign. Now, there's a plot twist to this because my perspective has shifted and changed so much this year. So very much everything working really well. I had messaged to an acquaintance on Threads that she was like, what's everyone planning? And I wrote, I'm going to cap out at 24 in the mastermind. I can't actually remember if I was at about 16 at that point or 19 at that point, like towards the start of the year. I said I'm going to cap out at 24 in the mastermind and then just roll with waitlist only. Like, how easy breezy does that sound? But there was a big but. So ordinarily in February, I would have had ideally a big launch. We would have taken in between 6 and 10 people into the mastermind. And I prepare, when you join Peace and Profit Mastermind, I prepare with and for you a full strategy. So you get like in PDF form a game plan from me. This is the revenue you want. This is how we're going to get there in the next 12 months. I love providing this because we put some numbers down. We put some action items down, and then you get to see what it takes to reach that figure. You get to see that it's possible, but also when things aren't going to plan, we get to come back to the plan and say, okay, well, where did we fall short? So it gives you that clarity of knowing exactly what you're working towards and how you will get there. That takes me time. So absolutely, I leverage some AI in doing that. But one of the biggest aha moments I had was that AI didn't necessarily make the process faster. It just made it better. Like, it made what I delivered better, more in depth. But also there is so much power in that, like my brain, and being able to provide that unique perspective that only I still feel a person can provide. Like, I still, ChatGPT is okay. Like, it can help refine that, but there is magic in my brain. So that takes me time. So I have always only had, the ability to have a limited number of people in the mastermind. And in February, I was like, I don't think I have the capacity and the time in order to really have a smash out launch. So I kind of like, I don't know what I would even call it. Like I did a very low lift, a few emails. I was like, here I have a very limited number of space. And we brought on board a couple of people, like a small number of people into the mastermind because I didn't have the capacity to really welcome. So I actually can't even remember, but we maybe had 4 people join. So then we, same kind of thing. On Black Friday, I had launched, and this is one of the things that I teach to the people in my mastermind is the flash sale kind of formula. So it's typically like 5 deals in 5 days, and you wouldn't run this all the time. But if you are still in the phase of trying to get some market research, trying to find out what your audience wants, where they see you as an authority, what kind of things are working now for them? Do they want audits? Do they want accelerators? Do they want VIP days? Do they want digital products? All of that, like what topics are resonating? It's a strategy where we kind of test out all of these different things with this 5 to 7 day flash sale formula. When I did that last year for Black Friday, there was one offer that like kind of blew me out of the water, and it was called Instagram Batched Bootcamp, and you may have been part of that. We ran that in February. Oh my gosh, the results that people had on Instagram, the fun that we had in that challenge, it was so good. So we committed to running it again. I think we ran it with ads as well. This was at the point then at Easter that I started to feel fatigued. And, with just everything ramping up with the renovation, kids is busy. Like we do little athletics. I don't know if any of you do little athletics. The training sessions are an hour and a half, and then we spend all of Saturday morning from like 7:15 until about 11, 12 o'clock in competitions. As far as sports go, that's a fairly decent investment. We also do netball. I am an idiot who put my name down to be the manager of the netball team. And part of that is because at the school that they're at, you have to do community service hours. And I thought that I could claim that as community service hours. So I'm the netball coach. What is it? Not the netball coach, the netball team manager. And netball is this really cool game that kids play. It's not really basketball. It's really popular in Australia. It's a pretty cool game. Lots of Australian girls play it. And that's full on as well. So I'm at every training session. Both of my girls do netball. So that's 2 training sessions a week. Then the game, then obviously the planning that goes along with rostering people on, etc. So full on. Yeah. And so around Easter, I was like, oh my God. And so I recorded a podcast episode about hiring a Facebook ads manager to take some of the pressure off. And we were going away. One of the core values that we have is being able to go away regularly and have that really like deep family time where Ross and I aren't running businesses and working, where we're away from the hustle and bustle of life. Like we go off the beaten track. And we were going away for Easter. So I was like, you know what? Actually, we're going to hire a Facebook ads manager. Had a beautiful Facebook ads manager join the team. Very much like list building, kicked off, amazing. We ran ads to Batched Bootcamp, and I can't remember if this was before or after Easter. And I was before Easter running some ads, I think to the second round of Batched Bootcamp, and we were return on investment positive. So just on the front end, I don't think I had any bumper offers or anything at that stage. We were generating a return on ad spend. So amazing. Went off on Easter, went to run Batched Bootcamp over Easter, as well as I think we might have done some list building too. It just was not converting this time around. And so what started as, running Batched Bootcamp once in February, I ran it again because it was so fun. We ran it again in, I want to say May after Easter. Really didn't have this level of sales that we had hoped into this paid challenge. Still got exceptional results. Still, despite that, had a great ascension into the mastermind, which I was not necessarily expecting. So, I mean, tick there. And we landed with 19 people in the mastermind. So I was so happy with that. I love all of the clients that we work with in the mastermind. Definitely had hoped for more people within Batched Bootcamp, and just that's the thing I think with paid challenges and webinars, and where personally I struggle is definitely respect and understand that paid challenges have a higher conversion rate to the point of like 10 to 20%. But the problem is that they're not always the easiest to get people into. And coming into the middle of the year, when we were about to launch Scalable Signature Society, I ran the maths on low ticket offers and I could not get the math to math on getting the quantity of people I needed into Scalable Signature Society with a paid conversion event. Could not get the math to math that would be a better promotional strategy. So, and I have tried it again. Like as I go into the new year, I'm now looking at, well, what does our launch and promotion strategy look like? And the spoiler alert where I'm speaking to, what we tried, what we didn't, is looking back, I love experimenting with different things. I feel like that gives me the context to be able to share those insights, to share what works and what doesn't work with my clients. And within the mastermind, we have clients running low ticket offer funnels with great success. We have clients running evergreen funnels with great success. By and large, the general gist of what I teach though, and we have clients with multiple niches and bigger offer suites, by the way. But the general gist of what I teach is free lead magnet into conversion event, which is generally a free webinar or a challenge, into a live launch of a signature offer that you'll live launch again and again and again. On the back end, we have premium profit drivers. If you want to know the general framework of what I teach, that's what I teach. But we have clients doing all sorts of different things. And I need to be, as part of that, at the forefront, because there are many different ways to skin a cat, and there are many different things in your business that you'll be strong at that you may come into being already established at. So Batched Bootcamp, ended up running it 3 times and coming out of it feeling like, was that just a giant distraction? And did that stop me from really focusing on the best use of my time in a very busy season? Maybe, maybe not. But certainly going into the new year. So coming into the middle of the year, I was like, you know what? There were 2 predominant, prevailing thoughts that I had. So I had this moment where, I so in my bones believe in what I call the Sweet 6 business. You're at $200,000 to $500,000 a year. You have a very lean team. You're working part-time hours. You get to have breaks for holidays. You have this signature offer that is time leveraged. You're not spending all day in Zoom calls. It is such a beautiful business. Like I can tell you, it's such a beautiful business to have. And I've had various iterations of that business. I've had an online course that had only 2 calls per week. I've had the mastermind, which still, is time intensive, but oh my God, monthly recurring revenue. If you want to feel safe, if you want to be successful in your business, focus on monthly recurring revenue. So through everything, monthly recurring revenue has been the best and the funnest thing ever. So I took a break in July. I took the full month off in July. And the way that we did that was we just extended everyone in the mastermind's contracts. That felt good for everyone. The feedback that I had was that they really liked that. Going into the new year, we will have what I call focus and free breaks, but they'll only be 2 weeks. So 2 weeks in the middle of the year, 2 weeks at the end of the year. And we extend out the mastermind clients' contracts to enable that. So if you have the Christmas break, you don't feel like you have to be on all the time to be getting your money's worth, because we just extend the contract out, and then you get a little bit of extra time with us in the mastermind and you get to have a break. So cake and eat it too. So took the month off in July and really had this aha moment. And I speak to $200,000 to $500,000 because that's what I've done repeatedly, and that's what I've done with clients repeatedly. But the mantra that comes to mind is, let's fuck around and find out. Kind of want to fuck around and find out at what point the business breaks and at what level business feels the best. So I can't see myself at this point ever wanting the giant team, the high-rise building, any of that. One of the biggest drivers I have for running my own business is not having a team or a big team, but I would like to see and really reverse engineer into a more scalable business. So the two things were, am I just holding myself back because I think success is going to be difficult? And at every level, we have fears of failure and fears of success. Is there an underlying limiting belief about what success looks like? And I mean, in some ways, I did break the business this year. I got to 19 and I was like, capacity cap, and we brought the mastermind down to 16 people, at least until later in 2026. But how does the business break? What does it look like? What does it look like to have a more scalable business? And I have had, my fertility coaching business, intakes of, like 50 people per round. So I know what it's like to have high volume products and to be able to really maintain that group momentum and energy. And I love that as well. So I had this moment when we were away in July of, I kind of actually want a more scalable offer. So if the mastermind, is only 16 clients at a time, I want something with a bigger volume. I also want direct to cart. I am ninja at live launch, direct to cart, group energy, like I just said. And so I was like, I kind of have the craving to have that again. And so right before we went in July, actually, I put out the feelers for an offer, which is now known as Scalable Signature Society. Because, I had the goal to reach 24 in the mastermind, didn't hit it. So brought back the goal to 16. But, I'm inherently an ambitious woman. So Scalable Signature Society was born. And we then had our first kind of launch for the product in September. And I say kinda because this launch, like when you live launch, stuff goes wrong. You should expect it. Your kids are going to get sick. They're going to, puke. You're going to have, I don't know, if you're doing a house renovation, stuff with the reno is going to go wrong, blah, blah, blah. This launch was next level. Can I tell you? This launch, so again, I hired a Facebook ads manager to support me who is exceptional. She has been featured by Meta Ads in what she does. And I hired her at the last minute, so she was a little slow to get started. I had not been running list building ads in my business, so I kind of broke one of my own rules. We went straight to the conversion event. We ran what I call a chummit, kind of like a summit where every day there's a collection of videos that expire after 24 hours. The difference was that it was run a little bit more like a challenge. So all up, I had 8 videos over 3 days. So 3 videos, 3 videos, 2 videos. And they very much went in like a sequence. And it was me delivering all of the videos. So I call it the chummit. So we had straight off the bat organically 50% conversion rate on the landing page. When we started running ads, and I don't know what happened, it instantly went right down to 10%. So there was some pivoting involved there, but I had hired her at the last minute. So she was like a week late to get started because we had to kind of hand over permissions, except she had to clear time in her schedule. So we were on the back foot. Well, then after not even 48 hours of my ads running, we had a tech glitch with our Meta account. This was not, like, I know that you're like, oh yeah, like your ads are being suspended when you did the wrong thing. It wasn't that. It was like it couldn't process the payment even though there was money in the account, and it wouldn't let us, it wouldn't process it. We tried all different ways. We tried adding PayPal, whatever. It was a tech glitch on the account. And then we were in touch with support, everything. And they said to us, you're actually going to have to not touch your account at all for a minimum 72 hours. So already we were like 3 days into getting onto support. Or 2 days into getting onto support. So it put us back a week on our ads, and the account only started working again on like a Sunday or a Saturday night. This is what happened on a Saturday night. So the budget that we had for ads just in the testing phase was $400 a day. Facebook, the ad account went back up. Facebook was burning through $100 an hour on our account. And I was and you see, because you have the milestones for Facebook charging your account. And it was like, charge $500 to bring the account back up. Then like literally a couple of hours later, charged another $500 to my account. I was like, what? Then like I was looking at the account and refreshing and refreshing and refreshing, and keeping in mind we're still in the testing phase of the ads. It was just like accelerating the spend, like $100 an hour, going through. It was hit 11 o'clock at night. We had burned through like $800 in 8 hours on the account. And my nervous system was like, can't do it. I was like, nah, sorry. It's the weekend, right? Like by the time we are able to make any meaningful changes potentially to the ads, because we were in the testing phase, the page wasn't converting the way we wanted. If I then, went to sleep and then waited another 9 hours, was it just going to burn through like another $1,000 and something? Oh, seriously. So I shut the ad account off, and then I thought I'm going to go in with forgiveness, not permission, to my ads manager. And I was like, I've shut down the ads. We're going to just have to start Monday, Tuesday. So it put us back again. Well, guess what happened next? Just a couple of days later, my mum had a major hemorrhagic stroke. And so lucky for batching, I had several podcast episodes batched. Pretty much all of the videos for the Chummit were batched. I was taken right out of my business. So I was only able to work maybe about 30 minutes per day from before the Chummit until literally she got out of hospital at 7 p.m. Friday, and the launch finished at 8 p.m. on Friday. And I only got home to take her home at 8 p.m. on Friday. And we had the day the wait list opened, she'd had a complication and was taken to intensive care. Oh my God. So everything in the launch was dropped like a hot potato except for two things. My ads manager still ran ads to the best that she could, even though we had skipped the list building phase. We were already 2 weeks behind in promoting the conversion event. And then all I did was just focus on emails in the launch. So I was actually so happy with the emails that we sent for the launch. I was so happy that the sales page had been finished. But if you were like, oh, that's interesting that she's not showing up on Instagram at all or whatever I would normally do, that's why, is because I wasn't working during that launch. I batched out those emails, and then I was with my mama in the hospital. So when I look at the year, I'm like, such an interesting year in a launch. I had absolutely gunned for a 6-figure launch. We hit 5 figures, but definitely not 6 figures that I had originally intended for the launch. But I'm still so happy we did what we could that was in our power for the launch. But as I look back at the year, here's a few things or thoughts that I have. Number one is I left my mastermind knowing that it was going to be a hard year, and I didn't want to feel like pushed or pressured. When now going into 2026, knowing that it could potentially be the same year as last year, definitely with the renovation, I know that it will be. I actually have re-signed into my mastermind for 2026 and re-signed for 12 months because my word going into 2026 is supported. I have not felt particularly well supported in the business this year. I've felt like a lot of things I've done have been the bottleneck, and I run businesses that are not about you being the bottleneck, and I felt like the bottleneck in many ways. So I have really been playing with like, what does it look like for the business to operate at full speed without me? And so many of the changes, launching Scalable Signature Society, rejoining my mastermind. We are making team changes right now, and we are looking at hiring co-coaches in the mastermind. All centers around the concept of actually what would it look like for me to be fully supported this year. Because what I didn't need as much was to take my foot off the pedal. What I needed was to really be smart and strategic, and enable systems and team and people, without, as I've said before, I don't want a giant payroll, but what would it look like to have a really lean team that really delivered in moments like mum having a stroke, and programs and offers and all of the things around there. So I've rejoined the mastermind that I was a part of, and maybe you're in a busy season. Maybe you feel like fucking ready to drop kick 2025 because so much shit has happened. Business hasn't worked the way you want. You might not be joining a mastermind or a program because you think 2026 is going to be a year of sprinting or, high velocity. But maybe you are joining because you want that support. I've really noticed, and I know it's not perimenopause, I've really noticed that when capacity hits, like when you are really at capacity, there's an element of brain fog there where you kind of need to work things out. I'm in a peer mastermind as well. I have business friends as well. But there sometimes is that level of being held and supported by someone at a high level that can help you through and help with that high level guidance. And I almost, if I feel a little bit like with the renovation, with everything that happened to mum, like I am limping to the end of the year, there is someone there like gently holding my hand rather than me limping to the end of the year by myself. That is the energy that I am going into. What would it look like for me to be supported? And in all areas, like in my personal life as well, for me and Ross, if I want to show up and hold Ross in my life, if I want to show up as the best mum, the best manager of a netball team, what support do I need rather than just endlessly trying to increase my capacity, like energetically? In order for me to have endless capacity, that looks like me being fully supported in all areas of my life. So through everything, supported is kind of my theme, and that's not in a needy way. That's not that I am expecting anyone to do the work for me. That's not that I'm expecting, as a thought leader and discerning business owner, I'm, expecting to outsource any of my leadership, my unique skills or expertise, but it just means exactly what it is, that I am supported in that. And so going into 2026, the second half of the renovation, what would it look like for me to have the energy and the capacity to have really healthy meals in the home? And does that look like having some help with that? Like, this is sort of where I'm playing into 2026. But also, what would it look like to just double down on simplicity? And again, as we came into the Scalable Signature Society launch, and as I'm now, launching again in November, December, January, February period, like I launch a lot in the end of the year. No, nothing new. No, we're not recreating any wheels. We're not doing low ticket offers because I have done the math, and low ticket offers just do not seem to convert in the same way. They require lots of iterations and all of that time. Like, they take time. They are if I had to choose the most complex like system in your business, it is 100% low ticket offers. What would it look like to have the most simple business? And I'm still in that phase of like simple, seamless, and space. I'm still there with my words for 2025. Like, let's have 4 words for 2026. But I'm still there. And what that looks like for me is really doubling down on scalable signature. Doubling down in terms of the way we deliver and serve within the program, doubling down in the amount of human connection that we have, doubling down in that group momentum, and doubling down in promoting and launching that offer, knowing that that also then cascades and supports intake into the mastermind, but that the pace, at the risk of taking some words from the beautiful Krista Olenek, like having a pace that's on purpose with the mastermind as well. So that's sort of where I'm headed. I feel a little bit like there may not have been the flow that I wanted in this episode. I definitely riffed on, like what's worked, what hasn't, a bit of the behind the scenes of this year. And I hope that has been helpful. If any of that has resonated, or if you have found that helpful, verbalize it. Come and tell me, please. Like, let's not just be strangers all the time on the internet. And sometimes it feels a little bit vulnerable when you put things out there. Definitely going to go and have a vulnerability hangover after this episode. So if you found it helpful, tell me, because then I know the types of episodes that resonate with you. So come and have a conversation with me at Robin Birkin on Instagram. That is all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.